a kilometre around the corner. It seems to be a wasted effort. You have booms that stand open, but you have 2 guards guarding a dilapidated building, and just up the hill on the area that is the naval base you have a broken fence. I am concerned that we have 3 ways in which this harbour is at risk. We have a dilapidated building where you have 2 guards, you have 2 booms that are standing open, and you have a broken fence. Somewhere along the line, the security has to cover all 3 points, because all 3 points are potential breaks in security for this harbour. If you don't get in one way, you have 2 other opportunities in which to breach the security of this operation. So you can't guard one and leave the other 2 standing open. You have to maximize the security to make sure that all 3 entry points are covered. Because right now you're covering one and the other 2 are standing wide open. I will leave it there. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Hickley. Honourable.
Thanks, Chair. Maybe before I get into my question, the gentleman who was representing Sea Harvest is still here. Sorry?
Can I ask for him to be here?
Yeah, I thought probably he is going to be here because he can't brief us outside when it's a Bermuda, and when we want proper details, it's not here. Chair, through you, I'm saying part of my questions, I think, is the one who can respond to them because they emanate from his presentation. Maybe while are we going to get him, Chair, back into the meeting? Is it possible?
Yeah, there's someone who's going.
Okay, no.
There's someone who's gone. Yeah.
Thank you. When introductions were made here, maybe I'll start with both the departments. When introductions were made, Chair, you hear acting DDG this, acting this, acting that. The Hollywood arrangement. What is the impact of this Hollywood arrangement in between both the departments as far as service delivery is concerned? Because at some point, when Andrea was asked a question, she was saying, "Yeah, no, I'm still new here," which takes you back to the fact that she's acting. And what is the impact of these acting arrangements in relation to service delivery is concerned? The Sea Harvest here, what is Sea Harvest currently paying vis-a-vis the market? The gentleman told us, I forgot his name, he told us that it is within their DNA to empower communities. How are they empowering these communities? Who are those people? Can we know who are these people that Sea Harvest have empowered throughout the 66 years that they've been here, since it's within their DNA? I think it will be interesting to really know who are these people and see them if possible. We are told the current rates, people pay less than 500 there, whereas somewhere they pay 10,000. And if that is the case, the threat that if the key area is not fixed, the Sea Harvest will live here. It's just a threat. It will not happen. How will you live an environment where you pay close to nothing going to somewhere where you'll pay more. So the abusive relationship in between the state subsidizing and funding private business and the quest for the state to create an environment for business to thrive. I think we must be fair and honest on that. It can't be. If at the same time I am pro an environment where the state creates conducive environment for business to thrive, but for the state to fund private business, it will be wrong. And the current setup, as we are told, the state is not subsidizing, it is funding private business. So we must find a balance. Department of Fisheries, what is your definition of a small player in the space? Because we can't be told that the harbour was upgraded from that docking setup. It was carrying what?
600 tons.
600 tons to 1.2. What kind of small is this one that increases its capacity of the belly when government must fund? And the next thing, you have a lease here. Sea Harvest is saying it's only utilizing 45%. And from 2012, that's what you said. Yes, 2012.
Yeah, the unusable part increased.
From 2012 up to now. I asked the question in your absence, how much are you paying vis-a-vis what the market, what other players are charging in the market? Probably will get that response. And direct to you, if the impression that is given that you are paying far less than what the market requires, do you think it is fair that the department must continue maintain and service the space you are utilizing when you are paying less in terms of the market? Do you think it is fair that the department must give you an up-to-standard facility when you are paying less than, if that is the case? No, don't respond. You will respond as the time stamp. My third question will come once you have responded on the two. Chair, maybe probably one can stop there. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, Honorable Matebula, Honorable Consulting, the lady there also wanted to say something. Yes. Okay, let's start with you.
Chairperson, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak because I represent Member of Parliament, the two Member of Parliament from the Kingdom Moss in Komekaya, my first officers. I think for one, by starting off is in terms of the department's reporting regarding the upgrading of the harbours. I'm speaking under the correction, this is a report I received from Mr. Kusani. I'm just very upset about the job creation opportunity in all these harbours. I think it's only 98 women that give an opportunity. And I mean in the communities, you can go into the communities. There's a lot of unemployment of women sitting there. Very upset about it. And I think there was CLOs being appointed in all these projects. I want to understand these CLOs, are they women or are they men? Maybe because of that. Then my follow-up question will be, in all these happenings of this project, what contract development was there? And how many women contractors and youth contractors was there in that contractors? And then my last follow-up will be, is that in this space where we are about sea hours, it's raising very much big eyebrows for us who's living in Saldanha. Because if you're going to what's happening with ArcelorMittal, when the steel production cannot go on because of the market, the steel industry was a big challenge in South Africa as a whole. And if you can see now, the ArcelorMittal is closed down. And they have a big social responsibility in this municipality area and also in the West Coast as large. Now, we have a fishing industry that comes, I mean, prior my time. And now we sit with this kind of situation. And there's legislation that speaks against the community. Then we have a problem. And then there must be, then a conversation must going on to the community in terms of what's happening in here. It's just raising eyebrows for me. Because we are speaking a few years ago about Pakisa, and the communities was very happy about what's going to happen down here. I mean, we said with a lot of water, a lot of industries around this water. Whether it's fishing, it is steel, it is whatever commodities going out of the port of Saldanha. You know, and these industries are speaking with each other. It doesn't work in a vacuum. So I'm saying as a community member, I'm just worried what I'm hearing and listening in. It will, obviously, if the stakeholders or the parties not speaking with each other, it's going to have a big impact on Saldanha. You mean we're dealing already in Saldanha Bay municipality area with the cable theft? I mean, it's a big operation. It's not a small thing, the cable theft in Saldanha. It's a big thing. I mean, over the weekend in industrial areas, the amount of crime that is happening because of the impact. I mean, a lot of engineering companies have opened because of ArcelorMittal. And a lot of engineering companies have also closed down. So in that industry, people already suffer under the crime of the cable theft. I'm just saying because for what it is worth for this meeting, with any decision you're going to take in your budgets, you must remember what kind of thing is going to happen to the Saldanha Bay. When I say Saldanha Bay community, I'm not speaking about Saldanha only. Because when you say Saldanha Bay, it means the municipality area. When you say Saldanha, it's only one town. So what I'm saying, but any decision you're going to name in terms of your budget, but anything decision you're going to make for the future, remember, Saldanha Bay community, it will have an impact, decisions you're going to take. This is a pity the executive mayor, but I see his office is here, is not here. Because I mean, because the local municipality is very important for you guys to come also up with suggestions and then speak with the departments in terms of what is going on in Saldanha Bay community. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Kalk Bay. Or Honorable Matebula.
Thank you very much. Well, I think I've covered by the colleagues in a number of areas. However, I think I still need to raise some few matters as per the presentations and what we saw as we were visiting the hub. Well, the presenter from the department spoke about the issue of a service of a technical team, technical service of a security company. Now, he says we needed that type of a technical service because of what was happening there. He did not even bother to go into a bit of details as to what exactly was happening there. Were people coming in carrying guns? Were people maybe interfering with things that were danger to the harbour? Because when you talk technical, it means that you need somebody or a company
with a specialized skill in that particular way of tackling such a crime. So now I just want to check as to what is it that exactly that type of a security company was needed. And I want to check, because if I have captured him correctly, if that is not about giving service or providing service in boom gates and dilapidated buildings, if then you needed a technical team, to provide the service for you. Well, that's one part, but my other one last question relates to issues of business opportunities that are here in the hub. As a leader, as a black man and a previously disadvantaged person, I become quite very interested when you start to talk about business opportunities. Because when you talk about business opportunities, you must not have it not in your mind that what era are we coming from. So when you talk business opportunities, I want to know if those business opportunities that were given to our people, were they dealing with the imbalances of the previous imbalanced opportunities for businesses that were there. By so saying, I wish we could be given a stats in terms of how many of black people have benefited from these business opportunities. I think I should qualify this black people thing that I'm talking about, that we mean the Africans, Coloureds, and Indians. So now I'm interested to know as to those people, how have they benefited here? Because I'm sure that we will not find that the majority of people who are benefiting here are those who previously benefited, meaning the white people. And I want to also know, Chair, that in terms of women, how many women have you benefited? Because women are forming part of those who were oppressed economically in the past. And we've got so many women who are capable, who are owning companies. In fact, who are more capable than us men in doing business and providing service to the state. And lastly, it's a question of young people and those who are living with disability as to how many of those are those opportunities given to young people and those who are living with disability. Because in my view is that it is in these countries in the hands of young people. We will not be there in a near future. So if you don't empower these young people now, what do you expect to happen in a near future with economic development of young people and those who are living with disability? Because I've seen in most instances that especially those who are living with disability are being ignored, are being shunted aside. So the department, I'm sure from where it is not doing what one has been witnessing when you get information with regard to, because a very small percentage in most cases is given to people who are living with disability. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Matokla, Honourable Transcarvey.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I think I'll start with the last point that has been raised in terms of recognizing the designated groups. It's part of legislation. So all the departments, government, and all private institutions should adhere to that legislation. So can we please adhere to that? Then in terms of the presentation, the last speaker spoke about the project that has been finalized within budget and within time, but there's a 5 million rand left. Can we get an indication of what's going to happen with that 5 million rand? Is it going to find itself back to the community or this area or the department, which will benefit the relevant individuals? Then, Chairperson, as we started with our oversight visit, you'll pardon me because I am not familiarized with the terms, the correct terms. But as we were busy on that walkway, we saw something. We've been Googling to sound smart. So we saw something in terms of a pier, that a certain area that we've been told that's in the process of being demolished at some time, but that will most probably have a negative impact in terms of service delivery. Can we get an indication of what is going in on that area? Is it not salvable? Can't maintenance save that area, or what's going to happen? What is your plan in terms of that? Then, Chair, I've raised the matter, but I formally want to raise it in terms of the relevant fees that's been asked in terms of the vessels and everything being last updated in 2008, far back. So if we can have formally raise it formally in terms of the fee structure to be amended on an annual basis, either through regulation or something, to be enforced, really to be market related, so that revenue generation can improve. Then we've seen the security threats that's there, but also I want to raise the challenge in terms of the backups of the security system not being done. It's a great threat, and I think I want to formally propose that the area should be looked at and be dealt with as a matter of urgency. Then we've heard about I just want to commend the management and everyone that's involved on the cleanliness of the area. It's very neat, it's very cleanly, and we've been told that there are contract workers on site, either through EPWP or some sort. But we've been told that it's 3-year contracts. Chair, which raised another point of concern, because when we look at the legislation in terms of employment, in terms when you look at the Department of Labour's legislation, you see that fine, it might be a 3-year fixed contract, but immediately when you move past the 3-month contracts, it shows that there's a need for full-time employment in those areas. And if we're not going to venture into that, and the people who's currently being employed on contract basis for that 3-year contracts, it shows that there is an opportunity for those people to be employed on a full-time basis and being absorbed. So if we can look in terms of the workplace skills plan of the different departments and different institutions, to include those in those plans, the skills addressing and training needs for those individuals to be trained and to be certificated, so that they qualify in terms of being absorbed into those positions. So if we can get an indication in terms of what is the vacancy rate, then that will give a direction also. Then, Chairperson, I want to know, we've seen various areas where people will be needed, or small businesses will be needed as service providers. So can we get an indication if you have a databases that you are making use of in terms of localization, or are you making use of outside people from other provinces and other areas to do perform duties or functions that the locals might be of assistance of? Then also in terms of tenders being given to outside companies instead of localization. Then the companies that are on site, like the sea harbours, I want to emphasize, even though they indicated to us the social responsibility that they're trying to adhere to, but they must also remember, they must also venture into the area of upskilling people in the form of providing bursaries to locals, even to study at the local institutions and the private institutions, so that they, the local people, we know that when you are local, you will always return back to your area where you were born and bred. So it's going to be beneficial to the companies, to the environment and the local areas, if you upskill the people, the kids of these areas, liaise with higher education, with basic education in terms of curriculum development, so that they start from secondary level in terms of curriculum subjects that's beneficial to this industry. Then, Chairperson, I want to emphasize the need for collaboration between the different departments that's involved, but also take the community on board when you make decisions, when you discuss things, because they might have brilliant ideas that you might have not thought about, that they can bring to the table in terms of strengthening this area, but also to speak or involve the Department of Employment and Labour, because we saw that they have different inspectorates that's specializing in different areas, and which can be beneficial in terms of planning, further planning in terms of this area. Then the challenge of employees who are supposed to account now being retired recently. It's raising a red flag, Chairperson, because it shows to me, I don't want to put it in front or being negative towards the incumbents, because it's not their fault. But the challenge that I'm having is, those retirees might have been people being in the industry for more than 20 or 30 years. So what's happening if they retire? Are they not handing over? Is there no handover reports like we are supposed to do, having the legacy reports in place? So that's maybe an area that must be looked into when people are supposed to retire, because it's a planned activity. Then they must put the reports in place, and they must take the people on board who's supposed to act and their subordinates, so that whenever a person is stepping into an acting position before appointment, they already know what is the ins and outs of that portfolio. I think I'll pause there. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you so much, Honorable Hans Kalk. Just a few comments from myself in the absence of other hands. Oh, okay.
Thank you, Chair. So just from the municipality side, to understand the impact of the fishing industry in this area, I think it's important from an independent, as we promote all our businesses in the area,
30%, more than 30% of our job opportunities are created via the fishing and fish processing sector. More than 30% of our GDP for the area comes from that sector. We are the biggest contributor in the district, and I see my district councillors in the room as well, of this area as well. So it means that fishing in the district is also of critical importance. So just to put into context what was explained on site and the danger and the risk that it creates for us as a municipality when the quayside infrastructure is problematic. It is a serious concern. Mrs. Kay talked about the closure of Mittel. Relevant, yes, but it's a blip on the radar compared to what we lose when we lose a big employer like Sea Harvest in the area. So for us, it's very relevant. It's a serious concern, and we would want the Oversight Committee to take that back as a serious risk from the municipality. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that honest opinion. Just a few comments from my side in appreciating these honest presentations that have presented to us, and also the fact that we're dealing with them after we've gone out. So at least we also have a way of dealing with the question. One, I really in agreement with what my colleague next to me is saying, the red flags. This thing of saying that someone has recently retired, so there is no information. It can't be that that person was working alone. There is no such in government where you work alone. So at least we must get proper information. It can't be a reason for not having answers, saying that this person has recently resigned. Two, the issue of EPWP, it's part of the Directorate of Public Works and Infrastructure. We are informed here that they are utilizing EPWP workers. But also one of the things that we have raised in the portfolio committee is that the department should bring back what we used to call artisans. Your electricians, your plumbers, you must have that. The reality is that we have a high unemployment rate in South Africa. We have young people, as one of the SMEs was talking outside, we have young people that are loitering around in the townships here, rather using drugs because they have nowhere to work. So if then we were then looking at taking those people, training them, the issue of training that we raised seriously, train them to be drivers, train them to be whatever, painters, if you need painters when you are repairing a vessel there, train them on just basic necessities. So that if there is a vessel that is in for repairs, at least small things should be done by them other than bringing in your expertise from Cape Town, from Hout Bay and all that. So I think that thing should be done. But also, when we're talking with the DDG from Public Works, Mr. Nkosana, you raised an issue here of reviving a committee, a sort of a management committee. But I think that management committee, to me, if it doesn't involve the municipality, because the municipality also has to play a role here. This harbour that we're talking about, it's here in Saldanha Bay. This harbour that we're talking about, it's here in the West Coast District. So you also need to play your role. In fact, there are many opportunities that you can come in as the local municipality. I understand that the mayor has written something to me saying that there must be a handover of some sort. But if you are spectators in your own field, how then do we hand over? You need to play your role. For example, this issue of training of young people, just to be artisans, the municipality needs to play a role on that one. So that when we need people, there is a database from the municipality. So I think you talk of SMMEs, They start there. There is a database. So, my question, there are, when we're presented with all this, there is a gap, seriously, the security risk. There is a serious gap. We're informed of the cameras and the challenge, the boom gate, no one in the boom gate. So there is a security risk. And to me it's high. So if then we may come down to it, I think in one of the reports, especially the reports that has been developed by our team from Parliament, not necessarily here, but there are allegations that in some of the harbours, it may not be necessarily here, there are crime activities that are happening. There are criminal activities that are happening. How then? Maybe a vessel comes in, it's not only fish that is in there. It's not only fish that is in there. Maybe there are drugs in there.
And
So you have a country where children are getting lost each and every day. Western Cape is one of the provinces that has such challenges, human trafficking. So how then do we ensure that we eliminate the security risk that is there? Because if you have a security risk that is so high, definitely there are criminal activities that are occurring undetected. So then how do we, I'm asking both departments now, and even the local government, how then do we ensure that we resolve that? It may not be something that is done today, but no, there are red flags somewhere. Thank you.
Thanks, Chair. I will attempt to deal with the colleagues, the support of the colleagues from the department. Chairperson, insofar as the legal contractual lease with Sea Harvest, we indicated to the committee that the old lease has expired, is on month to month. We also indicated that as part of the terms and conditions of that lease, the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure was supposed to do maintenance. We have also indicated that we have appreciated that Sea Harvest has continued to maintain the quay and the infrastructure over the years. We also indicated to the committee that the refurbishment program, and I think Utatumex raised it earlier on, in the initial scoping of the refurbishment program, the refurbishment of the quay was there. But because of the budgetary constraint in looking at all the 12 proclaimed fishing harbours and what needed to be done, we could not have sufficient funds to look into the quay. We then opted as a criteria that the focus for this phase will be on the infrastructure that will benefit more communities than just one package of area. We were clear when we opened. We then engaged Sea Harvest after lengthy complaints that were coming from them. We must be honest, members, they've been raising many complaints to us over the years. But fiscus could not have sufficient money to look at that key. Now we then said, what are some of the proposals? They went back, they came with a proposal, honorable members. The proposal was that they've received a quotation to refurbish the key. Should the department want to go ahead, and here's the quotation, which was around 45 million, which we could not have at the time. They then put a proposal to say, from their side, they can then put money on condition that we give them a holiday period in terms of the rental. Now, for you to be able to do that, you must then go back to basics, honorable member. The basic says, firstly, how much have you been paying for maintenance that public works are supposed to pay? You get a figure. How much are you currently paying in terms of the rental? You get a figure. How much is the market-related rate? You get a figure. You then put all this data in front of you. You will come to a realization that somebody is owing somebody. Within the lease agreement, how then do you give a security of tenure, but make sure that you balance the market-related, what is being owed, and what is the cash injection? We are at the stage, honorable members, 2 weeks back, we asked for additional information from Sea Harvest. They've confirmed that last week they've given us an audited financial statement. We have asked for the shareholding, we have asked for all the beneficiaries of the employment data. So based on the audit financial statement, because the law requires that we must charge all tenants market-related rates. Anything below market-related rate, we must go back to National Treasury to go and ask for permission. And we have explained this to Sea Harvest to say our hands are currently tied, but what we must do within speed is that team that we have already appointed both from the region and head office that is working on that. In the plan, honorable members, we had set for 2 weeks after we have received now the audited financial statement that the team will gonna come, they'll crunch the numbers, we will involve the legal of Sea Harvest, we'll involve the legal of the department, will come to a conclusion in terms of this particular matter. So there's already steps that have been taken. We are mindful, Chair, we don't want to see what has happened in Hout Bay, where one anchor tenant left and the whole harbour collapsed. We are mindful of that, and we at the same time, when we must go to Treasury, we must go with a convincing case if we are going to plead a less than market-related rate. So that's where we are, honourable members. It's unfortunate that we had to allow the infrastructure to deteriorate to this level, but we have now gained momentum in something that we're currently doing. The issue of the security, we have noted, members, the concern that members have raised, so as our colleagues from DFFE, that together we must make sure that we fast track the procurement process that DFFE has started, so that they have the security not only for this harbour, but for all the harbours. Honourable Matebula, I was making an example of the tactical response in Hout Bay, not here. In Hout Bay, you will see tomorrow, there's community dynamics there between 3 communities. and the issues that the chair is raising of crime, there are vessels that we suspect that they are dealing with crime issues. Because at some point, you see the infrastructure that we created here of the fence and the boom gates, and the community came and vandalized that infrastructure that we've built recently in Hout Bay. To an extent that the building was taken brick by brick, and threatening the security guy with guns, with the RM and the head of security from Cape Town region and Mr. Gqibela. We had to make an appeal to the accounting officer that we bring a tactical response to deal with the situation in Hout Bay. So it's not here, Honourable Member, but it's in Hout Bay. But we'll deal with those issues tomorrow. That's why even the minister, the new minister, said, I want to go there. I want to engage with those communities as part of my responsibility. The issue of the maintenance, I've indicated that we have a plan on how we're going to be dealing with maintenance. As I've indicated to members, that this refurbishment program had different phases as part of Operation Pakisa and the SEDF. This was just the first phase. We were going to still be moving to the next phase. We are busy negotiating with the National Treasury around releasing some of the money for the next phases. So as you will see, Hout Bay, Gordons Bay and Kalk Bay, the infrastructural requirements, they differ from one harbour to the other, and the context differs. And as part of what I've indicated, we will have to maybe also DFFE colleagues, soon after this visit, we must meet and look at all the security risks in line with the tender that is out, and see if there's a need to augment from our side. Is something that we will have to look into. I did not get the name of the colleague, but there was a CLO. Quinta can advise me. She was female. There was a lot of female-led companies here in Saldanha that were part of the beneficiation of the phase 1 refurbishment project. We can get data for you, and we'll give you even the names and the amounts that each subcontractor was paid, and the composition of those particular contractors. I think the other issues we take counsel from what members have indicated, that the two departments must work together. I was just indicating to RM that we must, within the next month, start having those harbour committees being resuscitated. DFFE will have to come to the party. We'll extend the invitation to the local municipality when we are convening the first harbour committee within this area. And in that, we'll then also look at the opportunities, training, retraining, and all the other institutions. It will form part. I've already noted issues that must go to the discussion within the harbour committee. I will leave that for now and maybe check. There were questions directed at the FFE and then Sea Harvest themselves. Thanks, Honourable Chair.
Honourable Chair, good afternoon. I think only from the municipality side, there needs to be an intergovernmental approach for the security situation around this area. Because I think if we as the government also and the different departments have a huge talk about that, Because I remember from Cape Town side, there's a lot of things that are happening there. And the security side, they curb people very well there. And people are coming now to the outer towns. And Saldanha Bay is one of those, as you said, really about that things that is happening in harbours. And we remember, I think a year or two ago, there was a boat inside this area where a lot of drugs was found. So if I talk about intergovernmental approach, we need to sit and talk, because that is very important. If we talk about, because we can put a lot of cameras on, but if nobody is monitoring the cameras, we will lose a lot of things, you know. Now we as a municipality, we have a huge approach now about cameras, putting even into ward base. And that is why my department that is running in according to ward base cameras and stuff like that. But if nobody monitoring that cameras, nothing will happen, because my people are just seeing things happen and nobody is putting their hands on it. From the municipal side, we are really putting our hands on it, because we have a TRU unit that is running in the night, especially in Saldanha, because there's a lot of things happening in our Saldanha area. So if we can just sit and talk and see what is going to happen, then we can help from government side how to approach it. And especially from Sea Harbour South, we see a lot of things happening from Sea Harbours. We see a lot of things. If we talk about the bursaries and stuff like that, we hear how young people said they get a bursary from Sea Harbours. So from my side, even throughout the COVID situation that was happening, Sea Harbours sponsor a lot of food that was running throughout the municipality, right through the different towns in the municipal area, where Sea Harbours was really bringing their social part into the municipality, and we just distribute it. So thank you very much from my side, Chairperson.
Thank you. Andrew?
Thank you, honourable members. I think most of what's been said has been said. I think there was a point of clarification around the
quotas. The fishing rights allocation process was finalised the end of 2022, and the appeals were this year. So I think what Sea Harvest was saying, there was an interim period. They were talking about an interim period around that. So I think just to clarify, the quotas have been finalised. I agree on the reconvening the Harbour Management Committee. I think there was something that happened which caused that to fall apart, and I think it's important that we revitalise that. I think from what I understand, it had a whole lot of different users on board in general, so it wasn't just DFFE. And I think the other thing I just want to mention from the security side, though, with vessels, just to note that we've got fisheries compliance officers based in all the harbours, or I think all the harbours. So there's, from fishery side, there's quite a lot of compliance that happens in terms of catches and things that come off the vessel. So I just wanted to flag that. I note what was raised there, and I don't disagree that there needs to be comprehensive security. Just wanted to flag that that risk in general, and that there is collaboration between the two. Also between, I think maybe just to flag that when fisheries joined and forestry joined environmental affairs, there's been a kind of restructuring process and rearrangement within that, which was finalised on the 1st of April. And where that harbour position is within our branch was also important, because currently it sits with aquaculture, which is not, the primary kind of user or synergy with that. So that restructuring has finalized, and then from our side, we're also not keen for Hollywood. So I think just from the branch side, I can just say that we've been filling a lot of vacancies. As we fill vacancies, more come, because a lot of it's internal appointments initially, due to experience. But the points about handover is noted. In this case, it was early retirement of the incumbent. But obviously, there should be clear handover processes that are in place. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Any other responses? CRS? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, through the chair. Thank you very much. I think the gentleman answered most of the questions related to the question earlier regarding maintenance and market-related leases. So we have a number of lots, probably about 17, if I remember correctly, lots on the site that we lease on a month-to-month basis from DPW. It was in 2017 when the first leases expired, and subsequent to that, there was an agreement from a discussion from DPW and ourselves to say, listen, let all the leases expire at a particular point in time. I think that happened in 2020 when all of them expired, and so that the renewal, a cumulative renewal, can take place. So obviously that is not on the go yet. But coming back to the maintenance of the site, we are responsible for all the maintenance on the site. I mean, that's what we do. We process fish, and we have to maintain the site, and we need to make it look decent as well. But the existing infrastructure, which was in particular the quay side, was DPW's responsibility as per the original agreement of 19 whatever when that agreements were instituted. Obviously they expired, and now I'm hearing of the narrative from DPW being the market-related leases. So in lieu of, and you can read about it in the old agreement, the contracts between ourselves and DPW, it specifically states that because of that, of the rate that we were paying, we will be responsible for the maintenance of the site, and that's what we did, and that's why I don't think anybody until now really discussed market-related until we said, and I understand that's probably been a discussion within DPW for a while already, but knowing now that if we want to spend 45 million rand on repairing the quay side because no funds exist from DPW side, obviously we're going to have to lend it from a bank. There's going to be interest charges, there's going to be a lot of charges involved in that, and as a result of that, we wanted a favourable outcome both for DPW and ourselves, and the favourable outcome would have been that we get a rental holiday for the period of payback of the loan. So that was the idea, our proposal to DPW at the time. I just want to, I will take 5 minutes, or let's say 10 minutes, be realistic, but I do want to put everyone into the picture of, it's not the first time that I think the portfolio committee has come to see Harbours, but I don't think everyone knows who Sea Harbours is, because they see big business and they see white business and they see white monopoly capital and they see all sorts of things which many times is not related. So Sea Harbours, fortunately, is 95% black owned. So if you go onto our website and you go onto our BE scorecard, you know that we are level 1 contributor to the BE scorecard. So that already says who we are. We were founded in 1964 by Pescanova, a Spanish company. Subsequent to that, many years later in the 80s, Brimstone, a business from the Cape Flats, started buying shares into Sea Harbours on a minority basis, and Tiger Brands, which was the majority company or shareholder in our business, sold off in early 2000s, and Brimstone became the majority shareholder. And as a result of that, we are 95% black owned. So, it is they have taken a leap of faith within the business. We all know that fishing is not a predictable business. But, there are many ups and downs. They have stood the test of time with us. We are vertically integrated. We export to over 22 countries on an annual basis. So last year we actually exported 26 countries, and that's all coming from Saldanha Bay. So we have 12 ships that catch for ourselves, which are freezer trawlers, and we have fresh fish trawlers. Freezer trawlers stay out for 55 days, and the fresh fish vessels stay out for 7 days. And we employ on the site, including seagoing staff, 2,000 people. So last year, in fact 2021, which is not very different to 2022, we expensed in wages and salaries into Saldanha Bay community 490 million rand. So if Sea Harvest does not exist, the 490 million rand will not be available into the community of Saldanha Bay. So between 2017 and 2020, we expensed or paid out to our employees 230 million rand due to dividends and the sale of share proceeds. So we had a share scheme which we established when we listed on the stock exchange in 2017, and as a result of the share scheme, that was a 5-year plan with our employees post 2020, and for the 5 years they received dividends, and 2022 the final payout of the scheme was done, and over that period 230 million was paid out to our employees. The interest, for interest sake, in 2021, which is not different in 2022, the information is probably somewhere, I just got the 2021 information, but in 2021 our skills development came to 42 million rand. So for interest sake, we have 35 bursaries this year. We average it more or less about between 35 and 45 bursaries on an annual basis. They range from technical to marine to accounting to HR to a whole host of study courses. We specifically started this year to focus on marine, on technical, and specifically on seagoing. Marine students, getting them from CPUT, getting them from all the universities across the country. We're not being specific because we need the skills within our in our business, but also we skill for South Africa. I would like to think so, because not everyone comes back to Sea Harvest. Last year, in fact this year, sorry, we have 10 cadets and 10 marine students that we're employing. So it's 20 seagoing high-level students that we are putting on board our ships. It's the first time we're doing 20. We normally do between 5 and 10. We decided to do 20. It's just what we need to do at this point in time, and yeah, and we have learnerships. We employ up to 60 learnerships on an annual basis. They don't get paid 1,500 rand as per the stipend of the learnership program. They get paid 2.5 times the 1,500 rand, so 3,000 and 4,000 rand they walk away with on a monthly basis. And we said we're not going to let someone who gets 7,500, 8,000 rand on a line, on a factory line, because that's what our employees earn. They earn approximately 140,000 rand a year. Someone who cuts fish gets 53 rand an hour paid to them, but 75 rand cost to company. So it's quite substantial in what our employees are 3 times minimum basic wage in South Africa. So I think that is really great in terms of what we have provided to our employees. We have a fantastic relationship with our unions. I think that says a lot about our relationship with our employees as well. And I think that's really what we do. But considering our key side again, we have over 200 SMMEs who support us on a daily basis, and you'll see the traffic through the site is over 1,500 clock-ins per day, and mainly because of vessels landing, people clocking in, our own staff clocking in and out. So we are a huge role player within the community. I think all the gentlemen across here, Mr. Scaffers and the lady behind me, also spoke about our fitness towards the community. I mean, they said it. I don't need to even consider and to emphasize what they've already said. But I think, again, I want to emphasize Sea Harvest is Saldanha, and Saldanha is Sea Harvest, and I think the two are synonymous with each other. Thanks.
Thank you so much for the responses from the Sea Harvest. Honorable Marcella indicated that you would have a question number was it number 3?
Follow up.
A follow up to Sea Harvest after they have responded. I will allow you, Honorable Marshall, but also if there are any other members that have follow up questions, then I will also allow you to ask those questions. Okay, Honorable Marshall, then followed by our former honorable member Maxwell and Honorable Franz Calvin. Oh, Honorable Mokoto, Honorable Marshall.
Thank you very much, Chair. Maybe one must say upfront that we will always, as members of Parliament, appreciate the good work done by the private sector in creating jobs in the country. And it's always good to get good stories like this one of Sea Harvest, the number of people you are employing in this municipality. And when other people speak about you, it is always good. And it will always be in our interest that we stretch you to do more. Not only yourself, hence probably we're not here when I started. I spoke about these departments that have got Hollywood people acting, DDG acting. So we'll always stretch you. And by the way, we will not thank a fish for swimming. You are business, you want to make profit. In the process, the accident is that you must employ people in order for you to make profit. So the relationship between you as a business and the people is that it's an accident. In your own right, you will want to make profit without employing those people. So that is where we are, and we will always come in. The department speaks about you having discussions, and you also come to it around your lease. Do you have a problem in paying market-related prices in terms of the lease that you have with the department?
Is the question?
Yes.
Okay. So we need to have to lend the money, and the idea was to exclude the market-related rates, continue with the status quo. Why change the rules of the game when we're now wanting to pay for it ourselves? Because if DPW is not going to pay, who else is going to pay? We have the business here. So my question is very simple. Why change the rules of the game when we have to pay? Because we want as long as possible 10 year of right. We were saying 20 years at least, 10 year of rights for infrastructure investment of 45 million rand. I think it's only fair. I mean, if the other party does not have the cash available, we have the opportunity to go to the banks. We have gone to the banks for various other reasons over the past couple of years. But changing the rules of the game when we now speaking about us investing, I think it was a bit of a curveball to us, to say the least.
The obligation rests with the department to give you a proper. I am saying to you, I think that's a secondary issue of you putting your money in maintenance. That is secondary. Primary is that you are on a month-to-month lease with the department, and a situation that is not normal. You must have a lease with the department. You said to us 63 years, and we'll be happy that if you have got a lease for 63 years, it means our people here, you will employ a person and that person will die working here. That will be happy with. I, for sure, I'll be happy that you have a 63 years with the department. That is the first thing. And that is why, that is the bridge you must cross. You must have a long-term lease with the department. Let's leave these things that you want to put your money in maintenance. And of course, if you are to put your money in maintenance, obviously you are going to try and twist their arm. let's leave that one. Primary, do you have a problem in paying market-related fees with the department?
With the existing, excuse me, Chair.
Just before you respond to that, looking at the situation in South Africa and using what you have said to us, that you have been in existence 63 years. That means that previously you were working with the previous government. We call these the so-called evergreen contracts. They are all over, and the reality that they are messing up. So, this question is relevant. That is being asked by Honorable Mashele. In moving forward, I mean, like, would this even be this question if there had been no change in government? Would this even be this question? We really appreciate that you are saying this company has evolved and as such is like 95% owned by black. But are we really ready to support the black majority government that is in this country? To transform this country? To support it by paying a market-related rate as a private sector? Would that be really, really bad? Thank you. Yeah.
Chair, I'm not a politician.
Yes, you are not.
I'm a businessman. So
it's
I'm
us who are politicians.
You know, of course, I respect what you're saying, but I absolutely cannot respond on what you are asking me. So you know, yeah.
But we wanted
outside the background that the chairs give, I am saying, let's leave the history and all that. Does the company has a problem with paying market-related prices?
With the key side that's not operable, I do have a problem, yes.
Chair, may I have a two-finger on this, please?
Yeah, with your permission, Chair, I still have two more. Can I come inside that I suggest? Then she'll come in.
Okay.
Because you see, ours and the relationship we have with the department is that we approve their budgets. And when we get this next, we will not want to see harvest going down the drain here because it will kill this community. So it is in our interest that Sea Harvest must find a conducive environment. Even if Sea Harvest was just a group of people having stalls here, hawkers, it will be in our interest to make sure that the department create an environment for them to operate. Now, you are saying to us, if the department fits, you are ready to pay market-rated prices. Is that what you are saying?
That's a very good question. So now we're coming to a point where I'm going to rent a beautiful quayside that works. Now we have to ask ourselves the question, who is going to rent it if we are not here? So what is market-related?
Market-related is what the person next door pays. You have a comparison. In my narrow view, I might be wrong. If client A is paying 10 rands, equally plus or minus, I must pay this side. That is what you have a benchmark in the market. So to me, that is market-related.
Yeah, so I'm not sure you're relating to in client A and client B because we're the only ones here. That's the first thing. In Saldanha Bay, Harbour, is anyone else here? I'm not sure. And then secondly, I think you need to consider, although you're saying it's accidental, but I think we were not a big business back in 1964. So that always needs to be taken into consideration when government main aim in my opinion, is to create employment, is to ensure that we have a economically viable municipality and a country and so forth. So, you know, I think we need to also take that into account, that we are employing over 2,000 people, that we're having various programs in place to upskill people, I mean, we're not, you know, we actually, we're quite busy, so, you know, in that sense. So I think, you know, we need to take it into consideration when discussing that, and I think that will be a negotiation which will need to be discussed. And then again, I'm still asking myself the question: what is market related? You know, what do we actually compare it to, and who occupies the space in our absence?
Let me give you an example from what we have been taught ever since we arrived. And I'll go back. For business to employ people is an accident. That is not their aim. And including yourself, your aim is to make profit. Therefore, government must come in and create an environment for you to make profit. Then the accident is that the people that the government must take care of will get employed by you. So we can't sit here, and I'm pleading with you. We must not sit here and behave like yourself. You are the holiest that have ever happened. Therefore, you have got an interest of the community and the people. It's not possible. Outside government regulating you, you are the most abuser that have ever happened. All business, from A to Z. And I think we must stop it there. Every business from A to Z, if it's not regulated, it will suck the blood of our people to death. So you are not the most angel that we have ever seen. You are here to make profit. It is our responsibility as government to make sure that the environment is safe and is conducive for you, because the accident of your existence assists the community in the ground. And that is why we will always try by all means to make sure that the department avails budget for you to do that. In the process, please be fair to this whole situation. That is what we are pleading with you. The department must make sure that that harbour that you are utilizing, that key, is in the right space. They must invest. But if, from what we have been told here, that this department docks a vessel here for 400 and what?
Once off.
For 500, once off. Whereas next door, somebody pays 10,000 coming in, 10,000 exiting. And you are sitting here, this department, I do not even know how much you are paying them now. I can just think and imagine that the reason why these people, the harbour keeps on deteriorating is because probably is this 500 story that were told. Because you must pay money for them to afford to maintain and service that particular environment. This department, together with the municipality, must make sure that you have got a road. It has got nothing to do with you. It has got something to do with government. They must build a road, whether it's 20 kilometers, moving from the highway to where you are working. It has got nothing to do with you. So we are ready to push these ones to do that. But we can't push these ones into a corner where they assist you to make profit and you are not ready to come in, such that you are even denying that there is market-related prices. Now, from where I'm sitting, we have got a responsibility as a committee, and that's why we're here. We want the committee to put money, but we'll never push this committee to put money where there's no fair and a balanced situation, where they are not going to recoup it. Recouping it, we are not saying it must go back to treasure, but we're saying if they put 10 rands to fix this environment, this key that you are utilizing, such that you utilize it at 100%, at least there should be value for money. That is what we want. We are ready to do that, but you are not convincing me as a bystander who comes here and thank you for employing 2,000 people. You are denying. I wonder how are the negotiations between yourself and the department when you are denying that there could be market-related prices. When you are saying to us, outside you here, there is no one. And you become a Jesus Christ here, that you are the only door to heaven. Outside say harvest, therefore no one will say heaven. It can't be. I want to plead with you and the department that you must go back to the negotiation table. The discussion must start that there should be market-related prices. These ones must come to us. We must approve chairperson their budget to make sure that the harbour is fixed for Sea Harvest to operate. But only if Sea Harvest understand that a price of bread here in South Africa ranges from this price to this price. It can't be that there is something below. Let me stop there, Chair, for now.
Okay, thank you, Honourable Mashele. Councillor Speaker raised his hand, and then our people.
Madam Chair, I just feel that we're busy with a court case with Sea Harvest, and I'm just looking at the program for the day, and Sea Harvest isn't on the program. So I just feel it's a little bit unfair. It feels me that we're attacking Sea Harvest today, and yeah, I think it's unfair to the tenant of for what's happening right now. So that, I just want to clear that.
Okay, but I don't think that there's anyone who was attacking.
No. But I think the way we speak to a tenant, and like I said, he's not even on the program. I feel, that's the program I received when I was invited. So I feel that it's unfair to him and to his company that we discussing his private and contracts with the department in front of other people. And if I'm out of line, I'm
Are you a little bit out of order? Honourable Hicklin?
Chair, I would just like to say one thing in Sea Harvest's defence. Sea Harvest, the gentleman made a statement. The quayside was disintegrating and the fiscus did not have the money to repair it. Sea Harvest took a loan from the bank and arranged the repair of the quayside. I just think we need to bear that sentence in mind. If Sea Harvest had not repaired the quayside wouldn't have been repaired. And I need us to bear that in mind before we start attacking Sea Harvest. That's all I want to say, because the quayside would not be 60% or 40% functional as it stands right now if Sea Harvest hadn't put their hand in their pocket and gone to the bank and got a loan for 5 Rand, 10 Rand, 50 Rand or 45 million Rand. And we need to bear that in mind before we start attacking Sea Harvest. That's all I'd like to say. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Hicklin. I think that somewhere you lost. I don't think what you actually saying is the correct interpretation. They have not done the laws. That one is clear. And two, we're not attacking Sea Harvest here. As the portfolio committee, one of our responsibilities is not only to look at Councillor Speaker, the department. If the department has a tenant which is Sea Harvest, we have the right as this portfolio committee to engage that tenant that is working with the department. So there's nothing at all that we did wrong here in asking questions. And here we want to resolve an issue. All of us here are concerned about that key that is not working. And we are concerned that it has been since 2012. And each year it is increasing in terms of percentage. I believe it didn't start with the 45% that it is now. So we are really concerned. But other than that, we also have to ensure, as Honourable Mashele has placed it on record here, that fair processes must be followed. Fair processes must be followed. We all know that private business, its fundamental function is to make profit. That one is clear all over, not only here in South Africa, but we can't not, as honorable members, think about the department, think about the community that this institution, Sea Harvest, is servicing. We want to see it remaining here, but we want to ensure that it is remaining here under conducive environment. The government not being made a scapegoat, the government not not being how can I put it? But it must not be sacked and ripped off and exploited. We have to guard against that. We will have one day to respond. Why did you keep quiet? The issue of month-to-month leases, Mr. Nkosana will tell you, it's an issue as this portfolio committee that we are fighting. We are saying it is wrong to have month-to-month leases, whether it is between the department and Sea Harvest or Sea Harvest and the department. It's something that we are saying it is wrong because it has an underlying factor of the rates not changing. And there is nothing wrong when you talk about market-related rates, because that is what all private sector do when they sell their product. You can't tell us that whatever that you are selling that has been produced here is being sold at a rate that you were selling it in 2017. No, it's not. It is market-related prices that you are using today. So there's nothing wrong when we are asking you about market-related. And to me, it was very, very unfortunate for you when you ask us what is market-related, when we know that whatever that you write, you say market-related. It was very unfortunate. Mr. Maxwell?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I was up for a long time. Chair, I've been a member of Parliament before, up to 14 years ago. And I went to Parliament not because I'm a politician, but because I'm an activist on the ground. I serve my community. I've been to prison. In fact, I was not a friend of Siavas before this government came to be. This government has changed so many things. So much say, Siavas can now proudly say and boast and say, we are 95% black, which was obviously a good step in the right direction. Chairperson, as a person who was born here and know nothing other than fishing, fishing has been taking place for generations before I was born, and it must and will still continue for generations to come, because I suppose we are all environmentally friendly people, and respecting the environment, we will ensure that fishing will continue to be there. Siavas came in 1964. In fact, Siavas is not 60 years old, 59 years. So Siavas must still continue, not for the next 59 years, but for the next indefinite period, whilst we're still on earth, I would say. Saldanha Steel, Aslam Metal came here in the 90s. They closed down their plant. because they were creating or manufacturing iron and steel. Those kinds of companies or discipline of businesses comes to an end. Fishing, however, should be there forever, I would say. It comes from the Bible days about fishing. So my, or the community here would see fishing must contain and continue forever. What Siavas and the department is doing, and that is what all of us would want to see. They need to see each other, and they need to meet each other. There must be no losers, so to say. Okay. And obviously we would then depend on the Parliament, the portfolio committee, to ensure, should there be no agreement, that the portfolio committee will play that role as the referee, making sure that things are conducive for fishing to continue forever. Because locally we would put our lives on the line to ensure that the more than 1,000 women who work in that factory will continue to work in that factory. So I will to conclude, Chairperson, by saying we would jealously see that what is happening now must continue forever. And the differences between the rate, who's responsible for the maintenance, we know who's responsible for it. We would just want to see a situation where fishing in this area must continue to benefit not only the community locally, but also the country as a whole. And the portfolio committee must ensure that that does take place. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Constable.
Thank you, Chairperson. Mine is very short, even though I agree with many of the inputs that has been made. To me, Chairperson, I think we need a fully fledged legal section in all the departments which can mitigate and assist in all the contractual provisions and stuff like that, so that no one is necessarily worse off through this contractual bindings and stuff. So if we can have that in place, who assist the different departments with the legal jargons and preparations, it's going to assist. Then, Chairperson, in closing, I want to propose that we are nearing the end of our term as this portfolio committee. We arrived this morning to find that we are dealing with issues that's as far back as 3 portfolio administrations back. So it's clear that within the next 11 months of our term that is left, we won't be able to resolve everything. But as a way forward, I want to propose, Chairperson, that we receive everyone that you've heard our concerns, and it's in terms of moving forward for the next few days also. That we receive regular updates, quarterly updates, in the form of being part of our quarterly reports moving forward in terms of this area, the small harbours, everything that we've raised, including the recommendations that we've made, including the proposals that we've made, and our expectations. We need to report back in terms of what has been done as part of our quarterly reports moving forward. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Honorable Pastor Beck. I will forgot you. Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'm not satisfied about the answer that was given concerning opportunities that are given to the disabled, to the women, and the youth. If my memory serves me well, I didn't hear anyone responding to that question. I'm still going to repeat that question. I want to know what percentage is given to the disabled to participate in the projects that are taking place in Saldanha Bay Harbour, and also what percentage of women and youth, are given opportunities to participate in the projects that are taking place around here. And then another question is directed to the management of this harbour, Saldanha Bay Harbour. What turnaround strategy do you have in place to ensure that the economy of this harbour grows? Because the minute the economy of this harbour continue growing, if possible, at a faster rate, we are going to eliminate unemployment that is found in this area. And to the department, we are talking about the acting director in our department. When is that post going to be advertised so that it be filled on a permanent basis? Thank you.
So, while it's coming, can I add from where she ended? There is a tendency by the departments of abusing EPWP people. A response came in that we've got EPWP people working here when we're at the gate. Now, the whole department can't manage a harbour relying on EPWP people. That would be wrong. We cannot come here. There is a need to employ people to manage the gate. Then you rely on EPWP people. The question is, in the absence of those EPWP people, what will be happening here? Who will be cleaning this facility? We must not, when we say bring EPWP people, it has got nothing to do with you subtracting the human resource that must be here. If this municipality cries about unemployment, it can't be the department that where it must contribute. It is not contributing. We must now come here and fight with the harvest. The first people who report to us is yourself as the department. Therefore, it must be clear, you must employ people here. EPWP must come here to do what they must do. Be skilled such that they go out. But it can't be. You must give us a proper report. What is your vacancy rate at the lower level? This, the Hollywood of acting DDGs and the staff is secondary. But primary, by the way, these DDGs, they don't report and work here in Saldanha Bay. Primary is the people who reside in these communities who come to work here. What is your vacancy rate in relation to those lower category posts? Thanks, Chair.
Over to you, Mr. Kubak.
Yeah. No, Chairperson and members, just as a matter of interest to the members, that the position which I'm acting on was advertised this past weekend. So it's going to be filled very soon with the new executive authority. The position that Mr. Trivela is acting on, it was an internal promotion, but the position has also since been advertised, so it's going to be filled very soon. That is for the Cape Town Regional Office. I think the FFE, they will talk about the structure of the harbour, because they are managing the harbour and they are the people that deal with the logistics. But Chair, I just want to add that it is this portfolio committee that we appear to every quarter that hammer us on the PMTE not raising revenue. And I'm sure this portfolio committee is realizing some of the challenges we are facing in making sure that the PMTE is able to raise sufficient revenue for itself. But we take counsel, Honorable Francois, that we've already started this engagement with Sea Harbours, and I'm confident, Honorable Marshall, that we'll find one another, because with the data that we have requested is data that must make us to make an informed position. And if that informed position come with an interim solution towards a permanent solution in terms of the lease period, it's something that we're going to be looking at. But like Honorable Pascal Vick said, whatever proposals I said in my input, they're going to have to be vetted by legal colleagues from DPWI and legal colleagues from Sea Harbour. So it's going to be an above-the-board process which involves legal, because this portfolio committee has said to us, you are leasing from the private sector 5 billion per year. How much you are generating by utilizing state-owned facilities? And I just want to say to the members and the public here, this is the tone that we face quarterly in terms of public works. What are you doing with the state-owned facilities? And the portfolio committee members, all they are requesting us to do, they are requesting us to sit around the table as a matter of urgency and resolve these outstanding issues. And we are open, Honorable Chair, from our side. The PMT is gazetted and is regulated by National Treasury regulations, that any lease that we enter into must be market related. It's not me that is saying that. It's a regulation, and we must just appreciate that particular aspect. And any deviation that we must agree on, if we agree on a deviation, we will have to take it to National Treasury for concurrence. So this is a process that we all must follow, and it's good for us also that these things are brought to this forum, so that also members understand some of the challenges that we are facing as a department in renewing these month-to-month leases. Because, like Honorable Chair is saying, we want to make sure that we finish these month-to-month leases. But there are these pertinent issues that we must deal with as part of that negotiation process. But we'll endeavor to finish, Honorable Chair, as soon as possible. Like I said, we've agreed that in 2 weeks' time, we must come back to Sea Harbour with their proposal, and we will take the process of finalizing the list forward. Honorable member from the issue, I'm not sure whether you are referring to, I've shared the data with regards to the refurbishment program that we have completed. But we will be working with the Harbour Master and DFFE to collect data when the vessels are on the slipway now and they're being repaired. what are the job opportunities and what are the data. So we'll collect all the information in terms of what is the current projects, and then we'll provide the information to the committee. I hope also in the detail that Harbours has given us, we can be able to draw the data of women, youth, and people with disability. They'll share that information with us. We'll combine it and then we'll send it to the committee. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you so much, DDG. Let me again appreciate all the presentations that have been made, the responses and the robust interactions that have been done here. As the portfolio committee, we always work like this. We have robust discussions even when we are interacting with the portfolio committee when they come to us with their quarterly reports. So the reality is that Councillor Speaker, with the department, what we have seen is just a tip of what we of what we do. We're not doing it maliciously, but we're probing to ensure that there is some serious development. There is something that we ought to appreciate in this, especially in the issue of small harbours. It's one part of the property portfolio that the department has. It's also one part of the property portfolio that can generate income through many, if you can say, avenues. You can bring in tourism through the issue of small harbours. You can bring in the business that the Sea Harvest is doing and other fishing companies. A lot can be done through this if it is managed properly. But I understand that there is the provincial trust team. I think we all agree that it must be revived, it must be functional, and the local government sphere must participate in that provincial task team when you talk of these small harbours. Because the reality is that you may not be aware that there is supposed to be a provincial task team that you are supposed to participate in as part of the local government sphere that is here in the West Coast, if it is that. But for us as the portfolio committee, one thing that we are pushing for is to ensure that there is economic growth in South Africa. We know how COVID has dealt with the country, and we know that the reality is that there are challenges with economic development in the country. There is high unemployment rate, there is a lot. But this is one part that we can revive working together. So, Sea Harvest, we appreciate that you are employing more than 2,000 people. We want, when the next term comes in 2024, when they come back, to see that it's doubled the number of people that are being employed. We want those that will be part of the portfolio committee to see that key being functional, not having such a huge space not being utilized, not having such a huge space contributing to the loss that made Sea Harvest experience. So we want to see real changes in moving forward. The Department of, yes, we're not oversighting you, but I think we will meet with our counterparts on the portfolio committee. There are some issues that don't even need, like you say, you must pass laws, just regulations. We will raise that with them when we meet with them. But you know that this government has an interest in the people of South Africa. So working together, we can do more. Thank you so much. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
so much. Hey, can we have a break before we have our own picture?